Good afternoon. Glad everybody made it back from lunch. My name is Ben Bickerstaff. I want to talk to you today about our product, LiTe Water, and how we think it can be beneficial to you, the consumer, and your drinking water quality. I want to start off the presentation by asking you a question. Do you think that water quality in America, and more specifically Alabama, is a problem? Right? We all know how it goes. It comes out of the tap. I think most of us know that it's treated at a treatment facility before it comes out of the tap. And that's just kind of the process. Now let me ask you the same question after you've seen this picture. Do you think that water quality is an issue? This is a picture of an actual pipe that brings water to your house. I don't know about you, but it looks like the bottom of the Blackwater River to me, and those are two things I don't like to associate together when I think of drinking water. This is a problem because these pipes have been in use for 90 plus years. Some even predate the Civil War. So if you wanted something else to have in common with Abraham Lincoln besides being an awesome American, you might have used the same drinking water pipe, right? And since these pipes are so old, they break, right? That's bad. The EPA estimates that 240,000 of these breakages occur each year. In fact, the American Society of Civil Engineers graded our water distribution infrastructure, and they gave it a D, near failing. When I was in college and undergrad, we had a saying that said, C's get degrees, so maybe the EPA should adopt the saying D's will give you a disease. So now we're going to kind of talk about how this can actually impact you and your home. So we see the treatment plant, and once it leaves the treatment plant, it enters that network of systems, right? Leaves the treatment plant, it's clean, it's pathogen-free, it's safe for you to drink. Next, it enters those pipes, right? And so exactly how many people is this affecting? EPA says that about 264 million Americans, roughly 80% of the population, get their water from some sort of pipe system. On the flip side of that, which you may not know, is that 30 million Americans still use private wells to get their water. So that never goes to a treatment facility, it comes straight out of the ground and into your home. And actually, interesting enough, almost 12 to 15%, according to the ADEM, gets their water from a well, of Alabamians get their water from a well. And so, once the pipe breaks, it's now exposed to the ground, and any sort of contaminants such as E. coli can penetrate into the system and run untreated to your home. That's bad, right? And so this contaminated water flows just from your faucet, and this is really bad because this happens 13 million times a year annually, according to the EPA, which causes roughly 40,000 hospitalizations, causes almost $1 billion worth of healthcare costs. So, and this is no easy fix, right? There's 1 million miles of pipes throughout the country. EPA says we replace roughly 5,000 per year. That's a pretty slow pace. And it would cost us $1 trillion to dig up and put those pipes back into the ground. Not a quick fix. And so consumers have been turned on to this too. According to a recent Mintel report, 3 out of 4 consumers don't like their tap water, right? And they don't like it for various reasons. They think that there's healthier options, that there's better tasting options, but most importantly and most concerning is that they think their water source is contaminated. So what do? They turn to products such as Brita and Pure to kind of take those, do what they think is taking out those contaminants. And but their main qualms with these products are that they require frequent filters, and those filters are really expensive. But the misconception that we continually found is that people think that these two products take out the pathogens, the viruses such as E. coli, from your water. That's wrong. These things do not take any sort of organic pathogen from your drinking water. So if E. coli outbreak happens and you have a Brita or Pure filter, you're still at risk. So that's where we come in, LiTe Water. Our solution is a continuous flow UV water disinfection device. We have a patent pending point of use configuration. That means that the water point of use means that we treat it right where you're going to drink it. We remove 99.99% of viruses and bacteria from your drinking water, and we're affordably priced at $99. Now, we will be the first to say that we aren't the first to use UV as water treatment. In fact, a lot of people do. The treatment facilities do, but those are large industrial scale UV lamps. It doesn't make sense for those to be inputted into your home. They're expensive, and you actually need some sort of installation service. On the flip side, we have what we see here is a Camelback. It's a Camelback water bottle, durable water bottle, and they market that towards hikers. This is actual. If you'll see this is the UV lamp there, and it uses what we call batch processing, where you get the water into a container and then treat it inside the batch. Nobody to date has been able to tap into the UV residential market. And that's where we think that LiTe Water fits in perfectly, with our patent pending technology. So that's why we consider Brita and Pure more of our competitors, because there's no other UV competitors in this space. So how do we stack up against those two? Well, we kill pathogens, they don't. Our product lifetime, 36 months, 3 years. Theirs is 2.5 months to 3 months before you need the replacement. We say that we need a third because we advertise that you should replace your lamp every 3 years, so about a third of it degrades over the course of the year, but you need to have 5 to 4 filter replacements per year. And our annual cost is a third of that of Brita and nearly half of that of Pure. Excuse me. So now let's kind of revisit that process. What are we changing? How does LiTe Water integrate into your home? Well, we're not changing the way we treat the water. We're not going to dig up and replace the pipes for you. That's $1 trillion that we don't have. But what we do is we can attach to your faucet and we can kill those pathogens right there as it comes out of the sink. And this is actually a picture of our lamp, so it kind of fits similarly into there. We can't show the actual lamp due to confidentiality reasons. But so what is the market like for something like this? Well, conceivably, it's everybody with a house that gets water into their home, right? And so the Census Bureau says there's about 140 million households in America. And so we made some rather conservative sales estimates. And we think if we can get about 0.1% of the population of Alabama, or even 0.5% of America, we can make some pretty good revenue here. We can get about $56 million revenue by year 5. But so you might be saying, like, everybody uses water. Who do we go after initially? Well, we didn't really know the answer to that, so we did what most people do when they don't know the answer to something. We went to Google. And so we Googled, and we thought of kind of keyword search terms. And who needs clean water more than parents with newborns, right? If they need the formula, they're going and they're buying something like this to mix with the formula because it's purified, it has no contaminants, it has none of those things to be harmful for your baby. And look, here's our friend Pure. We can tell you that's false advertising. They're not taking out all the contaminants. They do not take out organic contaminants. And so we want to target these people immediately. So according to Google AdWords, there's about 18,000 searches per month for baby formula related search terms. Right? So our year 1 goal was only roughly 2,000 units sold out of 4 million newborns. Actually, the CDC says about half of babies born each year, and this is an average number, I'm sorry, about 4 million on average newborns per year are born, about half of which need formula. That's only 0.055% that we need to capture from that market to hit our year 1 sales goals. So we think that we have the appropriate team to do this. Peter Gordon is our CEO. He couldn't be here today because he's constantly traveling. He's really well connected. He's on the board for the International Ultraviolet Association, which is the trade organization for ultraviolet for the ultraviolet industry. One thing we want to make sure you know here is that we plan to incorporate and stay here in Alabama. Patrick and Mark are here. You will meet during Q&A, but we plan to incorporate here, and by the end of year 5, we predict that we can create 10 high-level, high-skilled, high-wage jobs doing R&D and manufacturing. We've been busy since last time we saw you. I'll speed this up here a little bit. What we really want to know is we began talks with Unilever, kind of the P&G of Europe and one of P&G's main rivals. We also have a new website that we'd really like to invite you to check out. We have 3 main milestones, most important of which is we need to finish our consumer-ready product. We want to continue. Unilever is asking for that. Unilever is a $58 billion a year company. Currently they do $50 million in residential water treatment, and they want to grow that to $500 million to compete with Tata in India. And so they've begun talks. They want our product. They want to see a consumer-ready product, and we think that Launchpad is the key to get there. So we want you to help us shine light on the world's water products.